Good afternoon, everyone. It is officially party time. My name is Michael Camo. I'm Director of Content for T3 Live. I'm here with my good buddies, Derrick Oldensmith and JR Romero. Sami Abusad decided to stab me in the back, so he won't be joining us today. Sami, I hope you're listening because we're very, very, very upset with you, but maybe you will join us again next week. So, boys, how's everybody doing today?
Surviving, out here, another day of the market only going up because the market only goes up. The market doesn't ever go down for more than 4 minutes. So far that's where I'm at. With that said, if I just wanted to make one note that I think is the only moderately interesting thing about today's price action, it's that we're not up more. We should be at more with how light that CPI came in, and I know.
Hold on, Derrick, sorry. Your mic is sounding like distorted. Did you just change anything with it?
No, I didn't. That's why I tested with you ahead of time. Can you hear me or no?
I can hear you a little better now.
Okay. Let me know if it's a problem or not. But anyway, what I'm saying that the biggest surprise in this market is that we're not up more. The CPI was light. It was expected to be light, but I think it was even lighter than what a lot of the whispered numbers were expecting. We should be up significantly more on that number, and we're not. And that's a little bit interesting. I don't know if the China-US trade deal thing, which was a huge disappointment in my opinion, is weighing on things a little bit, and that's the reason we're not higher. But based on CPI, we should be up even more than we are.
Okay, do you think maybe we just got, some of the gain, because the market went up so much off the April lows that, a decent amount of good news is priced in?
I do think that some of it was priced in. I don't think a 0.1% month-over-month core CPI was priced in. That is an extraordinarily light number. I feel like that alone could have propelled us to all-time highs. One of my favorite signals in trading that I know I've discussed a lot on the show is when the market could do something and it doesn't. Sometimes that could be a signal for the other way. We are higher right now. So what I was telling the traders and the team this morning is pay attention to where we started at 8:30 a.m. this morning when that number hit, which is SPY 602 spot 68. If we're able to get below that number today, I think that actually could be a really, really big signal that we might be approaching at least some sort of a near-term top, because we should be significantly higher today. If we negate that CPI news, I don't know what else can propel us up at that point.
Okay, JR, what do you make of the light CPI today?
Wasn't surprised. We are not moving particularly well in terms of the technicals. Market breadth looks okay. Advanced declines is leaving a lot to be desired. We just cracked the ascending channel lows in the NASDAQ and S&P 500. The one thing I've been sort of hammering home to my traders is, when the indices are moving with a whole lot of strength, and I'm focusing on trading a lot of futures. I love the leverage, but today, two words: Jensen Huang. That's the key for today. If you're a momentum trader, right? Jensen Huang came out, did a complete 180 on the whole quantum story, said we're at an inflection point. So we focused on, trading the QVT breakout, trading the OKLO breakout. Obviously, those two names are heavily correlated when you have a statement like that. And I'm just, ignoring the rest of the noise, really just focusing on momentum.
Okay. And
it's got to move.
Okay, so we are seeing, this month so far, a lot of momentum. I'm seeing like SMH is up about 10%. A lot of the semis are up 20% or more. Biotechs have been flying this month. Small caps have been catching up. So, overall from the big picture, is it healthy that it feels like the rally has been broadening out a bit?
So the rally has changed in terms of what is moving us higher. And this, by the way, this is what I love about markets. Markets work in feedback cycles. Buying leads to more buying, selling leads to more selling. Feedback cycles are manifested in technical analysis as trends. What started with a heavy systematic bid from CTAs and vault control funds then turned into like a hedge fund stop in, which is now turned into a hedge fund short squeeze. That's where we're at this point. They're starting to run all of these names that are more growthy, speculative. There's some interesting statistics right now on non-profitable tech versus Mag 7 over the course of the last now 7 trading sessions. That this is one of the biggest outperformances over that period of time for non-profitable tech versus Mag 7 in a really long time at this point. So they're starting to really rally like everything else. And you see that with some of these charts that are going a little bit bonkers. You see that when, you know, for whatever reason, that this stock fuel cell, which is just the biggest piece of garbage, it's been around for a really, really long time. And it's been a piece of garbage for a really long time. Whenever you start getting late cycle, you start seeing that name squeeze. And I know it was down a little bit yesterday, but we had 2 days in a row of fuel cell into the upside. And you know, the move in some of the stocks is crazy. But what you're not seeing is, I know that the NVIDIA daily chart still looks really good and it's still grinding higher, but NVIDIA stock accelerating to the upside. Apple is like a dead dog right now. It's actually testing a key $200 support level right now as we're having this conversation. So it's not that the Mag 7 stocks have stopped moving higher. You know, Meta certainly has continued, Microsoft has certainly continued, but they're starting to be massively outperformed by garbage, non-profitable, long-duration tech companies. And a lot of that feels very late stage to me. You can do an analysis going back to COVID, basically. We had that crazy COVID bubble at the end of 2020, early 2021. It was particularly in these garbage long duration stocks and all the SPACs and the IPOs and everything that was going on. If you look at a lot of more major tops that we've had since that bubble has occurred, most of the time those market tops end or get near ending when we see these wild long duration stocks start to rip in the way that they have most recently. And
Yes.
That's where we're at. And I'm not saying that means that the market needs to top today, though as we're talking, we just lost the CPI starting point low. I personally think that's a big deal. Let's see how we close today. So I'm not necessarily saying that this is an exact top right now. When you start to see that long duration momentum squeeze come in, it feels like you're close. But what is close? 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months? It can last for a while, but it's something that I think is something that traders should be paying attention to right now as a signal that we're getting late stage here.
Okay, yeah. So I'm putting on the screen. So I did a screen for companies with market cap over $1 billion and revenues under 50 million. And yeah, we could see Livewire, Quantum, AST, Space Mobile, all these companies that are up like 15, 20, 50, even 70% this month. So JR, does it concern you at all that it's sort of like the junk is rising to the top, for lack of a better term?
No, why would it concern me? I'm a day trader. It's amazing. Grab your glow sticks and put on your sunglasses.
In the words of many a wise man,
it's free money, baby. Yeah, go ahead.
This has to end badly.
I hope so. I hope it does.
Okay, but do you think it could mean we are getting to kind of the end of the line?
So Derrick and I, back around February 14th, issued a warning. I was very adamant that the market needed to test unfinished auctions in the SPX much lower. And then I said, maybe we resume the trend. Maybe we crack through and actually, get violently reacquainted with the lower pivots. And, we said 57. It sounds ridiculous now, but I was warning about a move to 57.60 back in February. And we had weak technicals. We had price volume divergence. We had oscillator divergences all over the place. And I remember both Derrick and I were warning that, the trend didn't have to continue higher. Right now we're ascending on weak technicals, lower volume, price volume divergence, oscillator divergence. The candles are getting smaller. It feels very grindy. The order flow intraday is weird and, just full gas station sushi mode. And we're not really, if you look at the SPX, we're not really traversing the full bull channel we were before. We've had a definite change in angular momentum as far as the price action goes. And these are all the signs I look for sort of end of the line, late stage in the micro bull cycle, or whatever you want to call it. And I think that's part of the reason we're seeing such a mad dash for trash. That being said, when we come into SPX 6150, what is it, 6150, 6151, what was the high? 6147. Like, there's going to be a pullback, but I don't think this market's going to be particularly easy to short either. There's a lot of people that missed the boat. By people, I mean institutions that missed the boat on the first corrective move off of the 4860 handle. Okay, and you've got a minefield of anchored VWAPs and pivot points and intermediate demand zones that I think are going to get bought. There's a lot of people that have been on the sidelines and look terrible for having missed this move, and I'm not sure that we're going to get a particularly impressive retracement. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so are there levels that need to hold?
I think SPX 5785 is going to be key. So that's your, January 13th low, and it's a very high volume node as far as the descent and the ascent is concerned. You had that breakaway gap on May 12th, and it retested, I think, on May 23rd. I should probably just share my chart, shouldn't I? And so those are going to be the key levels I'll be looking for in terms of holding the bid. But I think we're going to get a nice short opportunity into the 6140s. But I'm not sure. We don't need this here. But I'm not sure that it's going to be a particularly spectacular retracement back to lows, at least not quickly. And seasonality wise, aggressive shorts in the market in June and July don't always pan out so well.
Okay, is this all contingent upon what happens with the tariff war? Because I don't, if Orange Man fully makes up with China and Europe, maybe there's more upside. And then the flip side is also true. Like how important is the news flow?
So like as a day trader, I always tell my traders to think of their operation as a Persian rug bazaar. Okay. So, you got your vases out, you got your rugs out. Okay. You have different types of merchandise. Derrick's laughing, but he does the same thing. So, sometimes it's you're trending over the 21, the order flow is strong. You're clearly in an institutional markup phase. Okay. You're gamma positive. You're trending, so you're buying dips and you're swinging for the fences and you're trending higher. Okay, there's some other times where the market gets a little weird and you really have to focus on sentiment and individual sectors of the market that are hot, right? Your QUBTs of the world, your OKLOs, et cetera, et cetera. There's sectors that become hot even though the market may be really mediocre in terms of price action and order flow, and you focus on those. So my job, and I'm sure Derrick does the same thing in his room, is to really focus on opportunity maximization and making sure that we're focusing on the right things based on the market cycle. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Derrick, but that's certainly what I focus on.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's been the constant theme recently. It's like, you can have 1,000,001 reasons right now to be bearish, but guess what? The technicals look beautiful and they've been breaking higher. So maybe at some point, the bearish thought process that someone might have will be manifested in those technicals and you can take advantage of it. I certainly see some warning signals, but there's no reason to be, necessarily going max short. Even though I think if we close below 602.70 today, it'll be really interesting. I do agree with kind of the bigger picture thought process that you were saying. I don't necessarily see, let's say we put in a short-term top today. I don't necessarily see us like immediately testing April lows. I think that June and July here is a little bit trickier to short. You could get like a nice little healthy pullback. I mean, this market hasn't gone down at all. Mm-hmm. You could see a nice little healthy pullback here in June. I almost feel like if we get a weaker close today, that would be a first signal of a little bit of a healthy pullback. But I agree with your level. This market is bullish as long as we're above SPY 575. basically, and we are so far away from that level. So I think that if you do get a more broader bear market that comes back to haunt us, it's August, September. June tends to be chopped seasonality wise. July is an extraordinarily bullish month. You get all these new flows that come in. So we'll see what happens this summer. But yeah, you have to be opportunistic as well. There are stocks that are squeezing, and they might be the junky, crappy stocks that I view as a warning signal for the bigger picture of the market. But that's not to say that you can't take advantage of it from a day trading perspective and bring home the bacon by following the momentum and following the trend in an SMCR, which SMCR I don't think is even that bad of a company compared to like a. They started squeezing Workhorse the other day. You know, they started squeezing Workhorse the other day, and I was like, okay, something's going on. But yeah, I mean that's just where we're at.
Well, like, isn't that the beauty of? I don't know. It feels like there's something different in the water because every time I feel like every time I turn around, like every month, there's just some other random group of wacky stocks that just shows up out of nowhere, whether it's, the crappy biotechs, the quantum stocks, which I don't know, they seem awfully goofy to me. But doesn't that like kind of make it fun that there's just always this level of activity nonstop?
You gotta love when a company that doesn't even have revenue has a multi-billion-dollar valuation. Those are always the best.
I just have revenue. They don't have a working product. What are you talking about? Do you guys remember there on CNBC, they had some guy talking about some kind of tech stock, and like the commentator asked him, like, what does the company do? And he froze up. He had no idea. I feel like there's a lot of that going on with, especially the quantum stocks. It's like some guy who could like barely use an iPhone is trying to explain like the bull market for quantum computing, which seems awfully, awfully goofy to me. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to a much more controversial topic. Now we're going to leave the food business for 1 week. And I want to talk about pets. Like and I'm going to give my answer first, just so we can set the standard. Like, now what is animal makes the best pet? And I'm going to argue it's actually the turtle, because a turtle can live over 100 years. Turtles have been around for 200 million years. So they are the toughest animals. They have the best longevity, and you could pass positive energy from a turtle to your great grandkids. They also teach you to slow down in a world that's moving way, way too fast. I could see the wheels in JR's head turning, and he agrees completely. So JR, do you agree that a turtle is the superior pet? I have to disagree, buddy.
What?
Yep.
How?
The cow is the ultimate pet. Things go tits up, you can always make a brisket.
That's an interesting point.
That's the ultimate Idaho pet right there. The survivalist pet.
Do you own a cow?
No, but I'm about to buy a ranch, so cows are coming.
A ranch in Idaho?
Yes, sir.
Like a trading ranch?
I guess it will be technically a trading ranch.
Interesting. Will you like raise little traders on the ranch too?
I'm gonna have a big guest house. People want to come out here and trade. There'll be a gaming chair with Derrick's name stamped on it because he's a skier. So yeah, should be fun.
That's awesome. Okay, so just so everybody understands, there is a JR's offering an open invitation to anybody who wants to come live with him at his magic trading ranch in Idaho.
You had to say that on YouTube, didn't you, Kamal?
You said it. I didn't. Okay. All right, Derrick. I can tell just by your expression, you agree that turtle is the superior pet.
So I love to hate on almost everything you say as like a real general life rule, but I never thought about the turtle being the ultimate pet, and I kind of like it. The longevity there. So first of all, if shit hits the fan, you could eat it. So it answers It is. That's point as well. But the turtle. The thing about pets, unfortunately, my wife's family dog passed away very recently. She was very upset about it. I don't think she had ever really lost a pet like that before. And if you have a turtle and it can outlive you, you never have to deal with that. So I kind of like where your head's at. As far as pets go, so I haven't owned a pet in a while. There was a time in like 2017 or 2018 on the trading desk in New York City where one of my traders brought in a pet gerbil that became the trading desk pet gerbil until one day it just wasn't there in the morning and we never found him or saw him again. And then Sean Hendelman, who is the owner of T3, instituted a very firm no pets on the trading floor policy going forward. But everybody was very upset about that. I don't know. I think that JR would have been a dog guy, but I like the cow answer as well. Pet cow makes a lot of sense. You could have a real cute one. I got neighbors in Idaho who have pet goats. That also I think is a good one. You could eat them too. You could drink their milk. You could make the cheese from them. Back to JR's point. And those goats
mow your lawn.
Mow your lawn. Those goats follow her everywhere. So I don't have any pets, but I semi-adopt these two horses in the spring that go into my backyard. One's a Belgian and one's a Clydesdale. And they're just these awesome, gentle giants. They also act as phenomenal lawnmowers. And if I have a tough trading day, I can just kind of go out there and they can just soothe me down a little bit. They're just awesome. So I don't know. I might go with the horse on this one.
Let the record show that both of these guys, their initial thought was, can I eat the pet? So my theory, Derrick, is that the missing gerbil was eaten by one of you trader people. Very, very sick. And by the way, Jack...
not.
And by the way, Jacked Orange Man, I'm seeing your comments that they're completely inappropriate. So you need to get your act together if we're going to have you back next week. Okay. So let's talk ideas. Since certain unnamed people decided not to show up today, looks like we got a lot to get through. Okay, so who wants to jump in first? Does anybody like anything or even hate anything for the week ahead?
AR, do you want to start, or do you want me to start, sir?
Sure, no, you start. You take it this time. I'll go after.
Okay. So let me, even though there's not a ton that I love right now, let me pull up the screen share. Some of these stocks are getting a little bit crazy. So I love the idea of focusing a little bit more on just the day trading aspect of things right now, just because I don't like where this market is. There's a lot of things I don't like about it right now, but the technicals overall are still very bullish. So you got to be careful shorting, but I really don't love new, bigger picture longs right now. So it is a day trader's environment. There are names every single day that are in play, that are moving, that you can make money with by just studying the intraday technicals and knowing exactly what's going on. With that said, some of the squeezes in a few of these names, some of the extensions getting a little bit silly. This Micron was a big focus short, I think, for my team today, as it is on day 8 or 9 to the upside. I don't think Micron's a bad company or anything like that. We're just starting to get a little bit silly into 117.50 at this point. So that is one that I have short on my books for the moment. I've been doing pretty well short this CoreWeave. CoreWeave had an interesting 160 breakout failure right at the open today. They squeezed that through with some wild momentum on this tail. It's up $6 in like 2.5 minutes just to 100% fade that move down. It was notable when it broke below 160. I told the team, I was like, if this thing breaks below this 9:35 a.m. tail low that it tried to bounce off of, this thing's probably shot, and that's despite what the market is doing. I think D.A. Davidson reiterated them as an underperform yesterday with a $36 price target, just to give you a little bit of perspective what the sell-side analysts are thinking of this. This is just a classic, low float IPO squeeze right now. It tried to break out of this bull wedge today, had a breakout failure. If it really starts to lose 140 on the daily chart, I think it's completely shot. So have some exposure to that one. And yeah, I mean, it's I don't really have anything else. Everything that was on the long side that I liked has gone. If you have to be long something right now, probably not right here. I like these energy names, specifically like these OIH, these oil services names right now. Big 3-day move, so I wouldn't be chasing into them right now, but you could pay attention, I think, to some of the oil services. VAL has been a big focus for me. That's been working out pretty well. You can keep an eye on it. Again, don't chase the price here, but I think on a technical pullback, that could be kind of a go-to area. And it seems like that's where some of the hedge funds are going to be squeezed out of as well. So, not a lot. I do still like having some downside optionality for the market or upside optionality for the VIX, but having it go out to like August. I just think it's a good thing to have on your books, especially if you still have a lot of long exposure at this point. You could have some VIX 25 calls for maybe August or something like that at this point. Could be decent. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Derrick. Mr. JR.
How
Do you
are
like
you,
it?
sir?
Do you like anything besides large quantities of beef?
Well, I was going through my watch list as Derrick was talking, and so many items on our watch list already triggered for the week. So, in part, I'm just looking for pullbacks. I'll go over my list here in a second. Look at the reversal bar at CCJ yesterday. I think uranium is going to go much higher. I think it's just getting started. Here, 1 second, guys. You caught me with my proverbial pants down. Come on. All right. So this is just a quick snapshot here. So QUBT was top of the watch list this weekend. We wanted it through 1480, 1477. It went. I think buybacks are buybacks. I think pullbacks to anchored VWAP are viable. NET next week for an inside bar breakout looks very juicy. 180, 181. SoFi, not quite an inverse head and shoulders on the weekly, but close enough for government work. Right through there. So it's already had two legs higher. So through 15, it looks like it could go places. Spotify, I would love a pullback to the 21 at 671 and a quarter. That'd be a gift. APLD, you've got a buy setup for tomorrow into anchored VWAP. I like it for a day trade. CRWV, I was telling my traders this morning exactly the same thing. You had on the hourly a failed island reversal, and then on the daily a big piercing reversal bar. If this thing cracks 144, I mean you're potentially looking at a move back to the 120s, 118. Tower looking for that break at 152. Palantir finally hit our buy point today through 133.50. I think this is a new sequence now, and I expect it to tag 150 in the next couple of weeks. OKLO was also on our. See, a lot of these already went. OKLO, we were playing the VWAP pinch to 50.41 on Monday, and expecting the break of the prior highs at 59.03. All pullbacks are buyable here, in my opinion. CRCL triggered a very messy buy setup today, but I think if this base isn't holds 105.90, I think it's going to have room to go. Tesla 324 was our 2-day target. Just beautiful move. We got involved heavily on Monday, and 324.78 was our target. I would love to buy the pullback to 311. I think there's still a bounce to be had there. Unity coming back to the 21. It's a bit of a messy falling wedge snapback on the 65-minute chart or the hourly chart, and I think you get a bounce as a day trade at least at 26.50. Shopify triggered us long today. We've been waiting for this break of 112.50 for like 3 weeks. Finally went today. I think this has a lot of legs. 128.5. IBM went already. SMR went. This is the problem, this market with the momentum movers. You make a watch list on Sunday night. By Wednesday, everything's kind of gone. I don't know if you've experienced that, Derrick, I'm looking for a lot of pullbacks. CCJ had an amazing Monday breakaway gap here off this consolidation, held the 5 SMA and took out the prior December pivot. I think we're going to see a secular trend in uranium higher as all this talk of nuclear heats up. So, those are the things I'm watching. There's a lot of other names, but, I almost wish we would have this thing on Mondays, because the watch list would be a whole lot more interesting. But that's what I'm watching.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like a lot of the setups went, which is why I don't have a ton right now. Every day there's going to be some new setups like that SMR going today was certainly on the radar for this breakout. We were looking at that to break through 36 for the last couple trading sessions. Really finally did it. But a lot of other things I think need to set up. Markets work in periods of expansion and consolidation over time. And the cool thing about that is, while the consolidation periods can be a little bit more boring, that's where the setups come from for the next big trades. So we just had a whole lot of names go, and now I want to see a lot of those names kind of reset up or pull back, pretty much exactly like you were saying, and then that presents the next opportunity, as opposed to being the chaser who's buying CoreWeave at 166 today. You don't want to be that guy.
Okay, well, we must remember sometimes the smartest move is not to play. All right, everybody, have an amazing day. Enjoy the bull market. It's beautiful. It's big, just like our deficit. So everybody have an awesome afternoon.
Take care, guys.